Happy Easter day, whatever, quarantine. Still feeling sick. Excuse me. But tomorrow I go get my coronavirus test. Let's hope I don't get stopped along the way. I've just been feeling like the diarrhea persists today. And my fever just sort of is hit or miss, like throughout the day. It's there, and I'm freezing and chills and chattering, and then it goes away, and the cough. But anyway, at 4 o'clock my time, I'm going to go and watch on the big TV this Facebook live stream of David. He's a Liberace impersonator. That picture in there's Liberace was part of his Las Vegas performance when he walked out of this giant Fabergé egg, and that's what he was wearing. But let me find David. He's a Liberace impersonator, and he's going to play a bunch of live stream on Facebook. And let me see, it should be in my events. Are you okay, Judy? I swear that sounded like a tornado. Mayoko. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. M-A-I. My son's out there cutting down trees. And that wind is crazy. M-A-I-O-C-C-O. But I'm going to go at 4 my time, and he's doing a live stream musical performance of a bunch of Liberace songs. And normally he's a performer. He is a performer that, you pay to go see. And I think he's on the East Coast. I really need to double check and make sure. Tonight at 7, 6 Central. So it should be it should be on at 4 p.m. He calls it Liberace's Easter Social Distancing with David Mayoko. And it ought to be really fun, and I want to watch it on the big screen. But I hope that's I'll check at 4. So I just wanted to mention that because I'm not going to be on here that long. But I'm going to insert right here. Let's see, do I want to insert here a small clip? Because I just found it, basically. As I got this picture keeper, okay? And you plug it in. My neighbor gave it to me for Christmas. You plug it in, and it searches your entire computer, except for your social media, but it'll search your entire computer for photos. So I plugged it in. I clicked search, whatever you got to do, download the software. It was really easy. And I have over 18,000 pictures on my computer, and that's not including the social media. So my, why is this thing so weird? So my picture keeper is 16 gigabytes, and that wasn't enough. So I had to order another one. I only got like a 4 gig because it said I only had 1 point something gigs. But anyway, Placerita Canyon. I'm going to continue to talk about Placerita Canyon today, and I want to insert this cute little clip I just found. So is it interesting, like how since 1842, how do they know that's the tree?
I don't know.
So that was my granddaughter. I took her to see the Oak of the Golden Dream. I take everybody to Placerita Canyon, and she's been there with me more than once. And my daughter and my friends and my son, everybody. But she took that. I think it was a snap. And I was standing at the Oak of the Golden Tree, and I was asking her, how do they know that this is the tree? And that was something I meant to talk about the last time, but I didn't. I always feel like I'm lopsided. But the Oak of the Golden Dream tree, actual tree, even though that oak tree on Placerita Canyon is deemed the tree, we actually think that it was the tree on the Disney property. But Disney doesn't want to claim it because that would mean people wanting to flock over there and see it all the time. So this tree gets the royal treatment. But that's what I was asking her. How do you know, since 1843, that this was the actual tree? But that's kind of funny because that's a cute thing. And I have other videos, but what I wanted to talk about today was that I love this place so much that when the Docent training opened up, and I'd been out hiking for a few years, on the regular, and getting to know what it is to hike, and just got this love and appreciation of it. And I was, halfway through my master's in education. Reading literacy was my thing. When cancer struck. So I didn't get to work with kids because I never went back. But at the gym where I was at Warrior Fitness, I asked if I could work there and got a job with the kids in the daycare. At first I was like just doing calls, sales type stuff. And then the lady who was sort of running this part of the gym, she said, well, we're out of child care, such and such hours. And I said, and if you know anybody, tell them to come apply. I said, what about me? Yeah, I want to work with kids. And I had a blast. Working with them. And so when this school opened for docent training at Placerita, I jumped on it because the whole idea behind the docent is volunteering, and you would be working mostly with school kids. There's a lot of, school, what do they call them? Field trips. And they'll come from like LA and in the city, and they don't ever really see trees and stuff like that. And this docent program is so awesome that it really does change the minds of the kids. When you take them around that, because for a lot of them it's the first time they've touched anything green, or been surrounded by green. And there's a lot of stuff that you can show them as you take them along you go along the Heritage Trail, I think, a little bit if they're a little older, and then the little ones you can keep on the Ecology Trail, and it's still really interesting, and it's a lot of fun facts. And I prefer to work with the smaller, the even younger kids, because they're full of questions, but they don't hold you to they don't hold you to quite such a harsh standing. And I really was so looking forward to that. Damn it, that alarm is going off again. So if I hear that go off again, I'm going to have to pause here. But I wanted to talk about my docent training at Placerita. This is the book I kept while I was going through training. And inside I kept, I kept a lot of stuff as we were talking. And I was starting to build a sort of a little cache of fun things to show the kids as I was talking to them. This particular little thing was made from a palm branch, and you take the thinnest of part of it. You like shred it almost, and there's a certain way of braiding. The thing's going off. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause here. Okay, so anyway, this is the Tataviam Indian inhabited this area primarily, and this was a technique passed down. But this little string would hold a truck. I'm not kidding you. You could hook it on, and this little string would hold a truck. It's extremely strong, and I braided it while it was slightly damp, and it dried, and it is like steel. No joke. It is like steel. And then pieces of bark, different bark, different acorns, types of acorns, to thrill the children and let them let them have something that they can touch and stuff like that. And then I had stuff that I had collected while hiking, different kinds of rocks and rocks embedded with gold and things. And I think the kids would have been really thrilled with that. And this was a little, again, I like to tab everything, but this was a little book I kept, and I kept notes in it, and I tabbed it. So, and of course has my little picture of the bumblebee, but as they were talking, as we had different speakers and whatnot, and they were talking, I kept notes in this little book and in the other book as well. But this was primarily I kept to take with me when I would take the kids on walks. And this is an example of, they would give us a list of things to talk about when we were taking people on trails. And here's where we talked about the Tataviam Indian. And it was just this was so much fun. This was so much fun, and I was so looking forward to it. And but I learned a lot. I learned an awful lot about the trails. And as we had our speakers, these were the copies, if you wanted them, the copies of the person presenting would pull them up on a slide. They would hand these out, and we talked about everything from scrub, you name it, everything, and we were given this handout, Windows into the Wild, and we learned about, here's the riparian, because the Placerita Canyon is mostly riparian woodland and alluvial scrub, chaparral, southern oak, coastal sage scrub. So we went through everything about the plants, how the plants spread, which plants are native to Southern California, which plants are not native, and how did they get there. And I learned so much, and we learned about birds and herbivores, plant-eating herbivores, adaptations for plant-eating insects, seed-eating birds, and because there, you know, there is water and waterfalls, water, whatever. But the coolest thing was learning about how the wildlife adapted to. Okay, go on, go on, go on, go on. You're not going to be cool. All right. Yeah. Let the other cat in, thinking he would just be cool because Judy was in the window. But no. So, but the thing I found to be really cool was how does our wildlife adapt to these scorching summers, and that there are times that we have very dry winters. How do they adapt? How do they survive? How do they live? And it's amazing how, for example, the leaves, I believe, on the oak tree, in the winter, they're green, right? And they're absorbing, if we have any rain, they're absorbing all the water. But when it turns summer, you think that its leaves are curling up because it's so dried out and it's dying. But the leaves actually flip over and they curl up because they're protecting the resources within the leaves. So wildlife, they know that, and they will, birds, squirrels, what else will go up there? But anyway, they know to go to those leaves, and that even in the driest of climates, they can get what they need as a resource. Yeah, we talked, and of course we talked a lot about volcanoes. We talked about the layers of the earth and the ages of the layers of the earth. Minerals, this was my favorite. I always have had a thing for rocks. Always. I have a picture of me as a kid digging for rocks. And I was just always fascinated by them. So then when we talked about the main types of rocks that you could find in Placerita, I was all into it. I was all about it. So, and it's all, and then each section would be broken up like this, and then we talked about the mammals, we talked about so on and so forth, everything. It was such a fun course, and I was there all the way up until we were given an assignment to write about. It's like a final. So we're given an assignment to write about some major event in the canyon throughout history. So I picked fires, and it seems like that's a thing, like with me, is the fires. But so, I picked fires to talk about, and was just beginning to kind of like get the research done. I was online and writing my report, and then we had one final. We were to come in. I think it was like a 4-hour thing, and we bring our notebooks and we take this final, and then we're put on the schedule, and away we go. And there's all sorts of things you can do out there. You don't just have to like be a tour guide for the kids, because there is summer and there's downtime. So you can work in the gift shop. You can help clean up trails, which I was looking forward to. With all the fires and the mudslides we had, I really wanted to be a part of the resurrection of the trails. But here's some pictures during docent training. And I wanted to show this picture of, because I talked about the courtyard. And the courtyard is right there. You kind of see it. But we had like some special events out there, some things set up to study, and I'm somewhere in there. But this was just such an amazing course, and learning about the kind of rocks, and there's still gold in the rocks. There's still gold. And after a heavy rain, you can see the water just shimmer with gold flecks. but it doesn't ever really amount to anything. And on my breaks during the training, we had this one class where we talked a lot about the plants that grow and how to use them, how they can help you. And this particular one is white sage, I believe. I'd have to go back and check. And if you're hiking and you're starting to, it's hot and you're starting to feel like parched, and just drop this in your water. Drop that leaf in your water. But there's a lot of stuff that grows out there that if survival, if you need to survive and you're out there. But this, I got to hold this gopher snake. I think the gopher snake's name was Penelope. So yeah, I got to so much good stuff. Like I just enjoyed myself, and we went on the last week or so, that we were there. We went outside a lot, of course, and I just ordered all those pictures because I Snapchatted everything, and I wrote all the different types of scrub and trees and flowers, plants, whatever that grows natural out there. I labeled it on my Snapchat. It was quick and easy to do as I was learning. And I planned on printing those out, making a little book out of them to show the kids and to take and teach them. But on the last couple of weeks, we had a semi-dry period, and we'd already had all these fires went through there. And so the guy that did most of the teaching, he's been doing this for such a long time. But anyway, he took us up on the trail that's been closed due to fire and mudslide. And as we were kind of going back there to see how things were, and he was talking about the Walker homestead and Mitchell homestead and the original mining, which I just found those pictures on my computer, sent them off to be printed. It's really interesting because the way the trail was before fire, there was white oil bubbling. There was remnants of the old man, the former sea captain who felt the fever rush and mined that area. And I talked about him before, but he mined the area, and they found him dead in his cabin. He was in his 80s, I think. But in fact, he did the sluicing method. And I was reading about that today because I don't know. I think they showed us pictures of it, but I don't remember. So today, I Googled it, and this was the old man standing, and that was his sluicer that he built. Here's a long shot. I better, But that was his sluicer, and if you zoom in, you see this guy panning. He's actually got a pan in his hands, and he's panning. But here's a more all-encompassing photo. I wish I had these on the computer, but I don't. But that was his sluicer, and so there's remains. There was remnants and remains of this still in place. And I listened to some videos. If you go to Santa Clarita Valley History and then just search Placerita, there's some videos of one of the sons of the Walker family, his sister, and this was filmed in the 90s, and they were born in 1916, 09, still alive. And then the grandson of the original Walker, he talked a lot, there was 3 main families that owned that area: the Walkers, the Starbucks, the Mitchells, and then that old captain. But so we got to roam around, and I thought everything still looked like it was pretty much intact. There's the old homestead. I didn't really see anything that was, and I'm not sure why I took that picture. Oh my goodness. Um, I actually think these 3 photos, I'm going to have to, yeah, but I'm going to have to go by landmarks and see if I can match those up. But anyway, here's a burned out tree. And you can see through there. It's just a beautiful place, but here's there's a lot of we got to see fire, where the remains of the fire, and you know, San Gabriel Fault is right there too. But other pictures coming, but that was my docent training, and I want to put a couple clips in here of that walkabout that we went on towards the end of the training.
Chase the bullet and rescued him. So anyway, this is one of the little reminders. Also, there are some little reminders or ruins. Fourth house, okay, and it was never fully completed. We don't know how far Mr. Walker got on it, but he did get as far as his fireplace. And if you look at this fireplace, and one of the stories is that he hurt his back and just really didn't think that he could continue on with it. So this is as far as he got, and they used this as again, from another side of the Walker family, is that he was very distraught. His wife died, Hortense died as a relatively young woman in the early 30s.
So that was just a little blip. It takes so long for me to try to download these clips that I took of during anything really, basically. And if I'm using my Android and Google doesn't want to share your stuff with your computer. So I can't just click on it and tell it to go to my videos folder on my computer. It doesn't want to do that. So with pictures, I have to go into my Google photo album and manually transfer them. For videos, I have to go into my Google Photos. First, I got to make sure they're there. This one wasn't there. Normally, everything I do on my phone goes into my Google Photos, whether it's videos, photos, whether I'm using Facebook or whatever. But this, of course, wasn't there, so I had to go make sure I knew where it was, pull up my Google photo album, and then download it to my computer. It's such a, I don't know. I guess because I'm not that fluid with all this stuff yet. I should be, but I'm just not. But these 3 photos are very interesting, and I need to go look at a different place to see and match up these landmarks. Because if that's what I think it is, and I was thinking it was part of this tour that we went on, Placerita, but I was like, I don't remember what would be down there, because the homestead part was burned, and here's what was left of it. Basically, that the homestead, because they moved from the original house, which was rock, which I ordered those pictures too, and they moved it to here, and you can see that was part of the burn. So I was like, I don't know about these. Was this before the burn? But I don't remember on this walk. So I'm actually thinking I know I'm gonna have to match it up and see. But anyway, it's almost time for my Liberace concert. Let me see if it's going on right now. Oh, some more stuff about the coronavirus. I actually think I had the coronavirus. I talked about that yesterday or the day before. I guess they are not broadcasting yet. So let me go back to his site and just double check. Happening now. Where is it? It says Facebook Live. Anyway, I'm going to go so I can figure this out. Why I'm not getting it.